Like any multi-billion-dollar corporate sector, the professional sports industry is run on a brutal hierarchy of total control, power, and leverage. When a market has been dominated by a legacy monopoly for many years, they acquire a profoundly rooted, nearly pathological sense of entitlement. The rules are set by them. The stars are their choice. They are in charge of the story. However, what occurs when a generational asset that is disruptive enters that market and totally destroys their whole economic paradigm? What occurs when a rookie, 24, shows up and immediately demonstrates the ineffectiveness, antiquity, and basic obsolescence of the old guard? The legacy monopoly doesn't just move aside and give the empire's keys with dignity. They don't change. They carry out a well-coordinated, aggressive corporate sabotage campaign. Right now, we are seeing this identical behavior occur on the international arena with USA Basketball, the poisonous, self-serving political conflict that is currently destroying the WNBA during their collective bargaining talks has formally penetrated a camp for international training. The veteran establishment is scared. They're observing Caitlin Clark easily control the attention economy, and they've come to the realization that systemic repression. They're trying to artificially lower her worth by controlling her since they can't defeat her in a free market. Her minutes, depriving her of the opportunity and putting her behind seasoned veterans who generate absolutely. There is nothing on the ground. To comprehend the horrifying degree of political manipulation that is currently taking place. You have to take a peek at head coach Kara's complete ridiculousness within the USA Basketball coaching team. Lawson's press conference following the game, following an entirely disorganized and offensively stagnant second game against. The foreign media wanted to cover Puerto Rico, a game where the starting roster was extremely unimpressive. Responses: they were curious as to why experienced point guard Chelsea Gray offered no real offensive production, was given the starting position for a second straight game, and the best offensive in the sport's history. The engine was benched. They sought a basketball explanation for an illogical mathematical claim. Choice. Carl Lawson, however, did not provide them with a basketball defense. She provided them with a corporate public smokescreen for relationships.
It's different for them rotationally. I mean, all of these players start, with their respective WNBA teams, and all of them are, like, if not the number one option, the number two option on their team. And so you're asking them to play a different role, in particular on the offensive end, and they're all doing it willingly and trying their best.
Pay special attention to the precise corporate jargon used in that statement. She discusses players' acceptance of an alternative role. She commends them for agreeing to play far less minutes than usual. She sidesteps the question entirely of real, factual on-court performance and instead switches to commending the players for yielding to her political hierarchy. When a corporate management is unable to defend a disastrous business plan using statistics, analytics, or real performance measures, they start discussing sacrifice and culture right away. Kara Lawson is aware that she is unable to give a mathematical explanation of Chelsea Gray's decision to start over Caitlin Clark while seated in front of a microphone. It is not supported by the numbers. It is not supported by the eye test, the speed of play, the offensive rating. It is completely unsupported by the basketball court's spatial shape. Lawson thus insists that the younger, to save the fragile egos of the experienced class, this generation sacrifices their own brilliance. She's asking the most lively, revolutionary playmaker in the world to take on a smaller role just because the establishment is unwilling to give up the spotlight. It is how corporate mismanagement is defined in textbooks. A Ferrari is not someone you ask to drive 30 miles per hour simply because the buggy and horse are feeling uneasy. However, the suppression is quite deeper than the starting lineup alone. It is integrated into the offensive plan that is being used by the coaching staff. When Caitlin Clark is eventually permitted to play, the coaching staff is actively eliminating her strongest superpower. They are removing the ball from her grasp. They're making her play off the ball, an intricate, well-thought-out strategy intended to artificially reduce her assist totals, interfere with her offensive rhythm, and keep her from fully controlling the game's flow. The person who made this video acknowledged this precise evil dynamic right away, as we have previously witnessed this identical playbook in action.
I come, you took the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. Because to me, from the outside looking in, and I just hate to even put this narrative out there, what I seen today looks very similar to what the Indiana Fever run with Stephanie White. Is Stephanie White subliminally sabotaging her?
Is Stephanie White subtly undermining her own player? That is the direct, unadulterated query that the mainstream sports media is completely afraid to ask out loud. However, it's the precise query that, right now, every logical basketball fan is yelling at their TVs. The most sneaky tool in the corporate toolbox is subliminal sabotage. You don't directly criticize the asset. You merely create a situation in which the asset's success is mathematically impossible. Highest degree, you alter the offensive scheme and surround them with players who are essentially slower pace. You insist that they submit to veterans who are only slightly as talented. And then, when you put a straitjacket on them, and their statistics output naturally declines. Game, you say, look, she isn't as great as you thought she was, pointing to the box score veterans still merit their maximum number of contracts. During Clark's debut season, the WNBA establishment tried to accomplish exactly this. And USA Basketball is currently making an effort to do just that. They fear that if they give Caitlin Clark the offensive reins so she can run the floor at her natural, chaotic, hyper-efficient speed, she will make the seasoned point guards appear utterly outdated, our foregoing optimization. Use the USA Basketball product to defend the established political order. And the most annoying aspect, the elite is trying to support alternate narratives with this entire contrived spectacle to lessen Clark's complete market monopoly.
Out. It was systematically put in place for Paige Beckers to ball out. From what I seen. They had a game plan to make...
It was set up methodically so that Paige Bookers could hit the ball. This is the organization's corporate secondary layer. Approach. You try to create a competitor to reduce Caitlin Clark's market share if you are unable to totally destroy her. The basketball player Paige Bookers is incredible. She is a generational talent in her own right, with exceptional abilities. Correct. However, the seasoned establishment also greatly favors her due to her playing style and, in contrast to Clark's gravitational pull, her public presence does not pose a fundamental danger to their cultural authority. Pull does. The establishment fervently wants the public to think that women's basketball has a bright future. Is not an absolute monarchy headed by number 22, but rather a shared committee, by creating targeted offensive packages to improve Booker. The coaching staff is trying to make Clark play off the ball and give way to older players at the same time. To control the international stage's optics, casual fan to determine from the box score that the skill. The gap is little. They wish to demonstrate that the executives, trainers, and themselves are the ones who actually produce the stars. However, Caitlin Clark is impervious to their political theater, as USA Basketball's coach. While the WNBA veterans are imprisoned in a Manhattan hotel room, staff members are engaging in trivial mind games, threatening to destroy the 2026 season due to a labor dispute based on ideology. Clark is acting entirely distinct level of intellect. Regarding her minutes, she is not complaining to the media. She doesn't make passive-aggressive posts. Subtle social media signals. She is identifying the basketball's true structural issues. Game with the IC. Calculating accuracy of an experienced CEO. In response to a question regarding the fragmented performance in Game 2. Take note of Clark's exact response.
The game was a little clunky. I felt like we probably didn't play our best. Thought Paige played really well. But it felt good. I mean, I obviously probably didn't shoot it as well as I would have liked. I think their zone kind of threw us off. I thought it kind of slowed down our pace a little bit. We didn't get as much in transition, so I think if like another team plays zone, just continue to play with a lot of pace and don't let them switch.
Refuses to provide the dramatic soundbite that the media is so desperately looking for. Rather, she quickly switches to high level analytics for basketball. She accurately notes that the offensive was completely thwarted by the Puerto Rican zone defense. Flow. Compelling the USA squad to switch from transition to a slow, half-court, grinding style of play. What made the zone defense effective? So successfully, because when the best zone-breaking playmaker on the field loses possession of the ball, globe, and you play straight into the hands of stagnant veterans who are unable to spread the floor. Of the defense, Clark is courteously and expertly informing everyone that the tactical strategy of the staff was seriously wrong. She is aware that if they had accelerated, played through her changeover, and put the defense in a precarious position, the zone would have crumbled throughout the first quarter. The coaches who are trying to stifle her are being intellectually outclassed by her. She is demonstrating that she doesn't. Not only does she have exceptional athletic skills, but she also has a better strategic grasp of the contemporary game. This leads us to the explosive, indisputable truth that lies at the heart of this whole conflict. The fact that the USA basketball coaching staff, the seasoned players, and the WNBA union are unable to avoid, despite their best efforts to control the rotations.
Convinced they hate Caitlin Clark, bro. Can't nobody tell me they don't. You can't tell me they don't hate Caitlin at this point, bro. I mean, just the level of disrespect is at an all-time high, dog. At an all-time high. And
I firmly believe that they despise Caitlin Clark. Disrespect is at an all-time high right now. IT goes beyond a simple basketball rivalry. It's more than just a competitive advantage. IT is systemic, deeply ingrained corporate animosity the veteran establishment despises. Caitlin Clark, as she demonstrated the breakdown of their entire prior business model. For 25 years, the WNBA lost hundreds of millions of dollars while operating as a charity case, and the veterans wanted unquestioning reverence and respect. Then Clark showed up, pulled from 35 feet away, and totally disregarded their unwritten norms, and immediately created a $2 billion media empire, which the veterans are already frantically attempting to give credit for. Chelsea Gray, Kara Lawson, and the Players Union's militant faction examine Clark, and they do not perceive a rescuer. They perceive a mirror that reflects their complete obsolescence. They understand that the millions fans who pack arenas, purchase stuff, and make money don't give a damn about the legacy establishment. The 24-year-old point guard, who was just made to sit on the bench for the first time, is all that matters to the fans. A quarter of a qualifying international match. She may be suppressed by the establishment. Veterans may begin to age. They are able to operate their slow-moving, sluggish offense. They may decline to respond to direct inquiries from the media. However, they are powerless to halt the free market, the wealthy, TV networks, and business sponsors.